Hey everyone, welcome back to Two Nerds in a Podcast. Today we're talking books. Books.
Because exciting news, I actually have read cover to cover a whole book. I'm so proud of myself.
Which is, if you, I don't know if we talked about this in like a previous episode, but like Jamie has always been the reader of the two.
I have.
Growing up, she has always been the one who reads all the books.
Yep.
And I don't. I read mangas sometimes, a lot of the times, but yeah, like recently the roles have reversed
Yeah. How the
and I
turns have
read books.
tabled.
The turns have tabled.
But you listen to books too, right? Is that like your primary way of quote unquote reading a book is audiobook? Because I know you do a lot of
Um
audiobooks.
yeah, lately it has been just because like I do so much
Convenience.
driving. Yeah, and like
Oh, yeah.
it just gives me something to do. So lately I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks. But I think I was reading. God, I can't remember the last one that I actually started, like, reading. Cause like, well, the book I'm listening to right now, I started reading it, actually, like, physically, and then I think I lost the book. I don't know what I did with it. So I never
Oh,
finished
yeah.
reading it, and I have, like, 6 Audible credits right now, so,
Yowza.
like, I have a lot. I have a lot, so I'm slowly making my way through it.
That's cool. That's cool. What are you
But
listening to? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna see what you were reading because you finished a book.
Yes, I finished a book in one day, which I haven't done in a long time.
Wow.
Um, I finally I had a Friday off, so I was home basically by myself. My brother was asleep the whole day. So I count that as being home by myself. And it was really nice outside, and I went, you know what? I'm gonna go sit outside and read my book. Because the stack of to be read grows every time I go out shopping, basically. And so I picked up a book called In the Weeds by B.K. Borison. It's a romantic comedy, slightly spicy novel. Um, and basically, the thing that caught my eye is there's a couple on the front, and it's like a dude and a chick, right? Because they're a couple, and the dude has tattoos, and he's a farmer, according to the back of the book. So I was like, I'm in. I don't care what the rest of the story is. It's the farmer with
I'm in.
tattoos. Got it. Um but I didn't realize when I picked this one up specifically, it's actually part of a series, but it's one of those series where like this one is about Beckett and oh my gosh, what is her name? Evelyn. So it's about them, but I guess the first book technically is about another couple that makes an appearance in this book, and then the next book
Mm,
is also about a couple that appears in this book. So they're like loosely connected, but you don't have to read the first one in order to read any of the other ones.
gotcha.
So
Okay.
I've done this once before in another series where I always end up picking up the second book, and they make like references to the first book, and I'm like, that's weird. I don't understand, but okay. And then I get to like the end of the book, and I go to look up like the other ones in the series, and I realize I read the second one and not the first one. Um, it was a very good book. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I like me a spicy novel or a spicy fanfic, to be honest. This didn't
Yes,
have a
you
lot of
do.
spice. This didn't have a lot of spice, so if that's not your thing, it's very easy to quickly skim through. But I feel like that's for this particular couple, that's kind of like the core of their story because they have this amazing by chance meeting and then spend the weekend together and then like don't see each other for like 3 months. No text, no nothing, like they don't know anything about each other, and then they happen to run into each other again but for a work thing. So that's how they reconnect. So the little bit of spice that's in here is honestly what starts off their romance anyways. But Casey, I might actually, next time I see you, I might actually hand it to you to read. To remember that book swap that we were supposed to do that we still haven't done. I
Oh
think I
yeah.
actually might have you I think I might actually have you read this because this is a very good like depiction of what I'm into reading now. Um
Oh, okay, okay,
versus
okay.
like so
What I'm used to
but
you
yes.
reading.
Yes. Yeah, it's for once not a fantasy novel. Honestly, fantasy I have a back and forth with. I need to start basically scouring book talk for
Mhm.
suggestions because
That
I
is
feel
how
like
I have my giant stack of books is Book Talk.
yeah, I feel like a lot of like at least fantasy that I'm aware of is geared towards like either like late teens or early 20s.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and now that I'm a 30-year-old lady, I want some something for couples like, fantasy genre for slightly older people, and actually this book In the Weeds that I just read, they're actually 29 or 28.
Oh, okay.
So I literally and I
All
just
right there.
I picked this up by chance, so it was actually really nice that it was just in my age range. Um, but I wanted to ask because so when I go into a bookstore or the library, depending on where I'm at, I know people say don't judge a book by its cover, but honestly, a lot of
Mhm.
times the cover is what attracts my attention, whether it be the art that's on the cover, the color, the font choice that the
Yeah.
title is in. Um, so do you like when you're perusing a bookstore, do you pick it up by the cover or do you kind of like how do you choose a book when you go shopping? If
If
you're not
I
looking for anything in
Yeah,
particular.
like if I'm not looking for something in particular, see, I feel like it's hard because we have two very different genres of books that we read.
Yeah, we do.
um I like very like well, I'm a spooky bitch, so like I like horror books. I like true crime-esque type of things, who done it,
Mhm.
mystery, murder mystery, stuff like that. Um So, like, when I pick a book, if I'm, like, at the bookstore, I usually look for something that's kind of, like, creepy
Mhm.
that'll grab my attention. Um, but honestly, like, lately, most of my suggestions are from Book Talk because that's just where I get most of my book recommendations. Like, I follow this one TikToker, he does, like he's, like, basically reads what I read, like, exactly what I read.
Yeah.
So I follow him, and then I was, like, regretting following him for a while because I was spending so much money on these books because I was buying so many of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, like, kinda, like, the creepier well, like, also I don't know. I guess that's my answer. Final answer.
Yeah.
That's my putting my
You're
pen
locking
down,
it
that's
in?
my locking it in.
Yeah, cuz I noticed like again, once you find I feel like once you find a book talker who like is basically the same as you as far as reading goes, then like you have like a guide, especially if it's somebody who has
Yeah.
either more time to read or that's their primary hobby is reading because like
Mhm.
I myself have way too many hobbies to ever
Yeah.
be like a book like I can't. That's why I always call myself a jack of all trades because I want to try it all. I want to do it all. I want to be mediocre at everything. Like I don't have to be. Some people have to be the best and they have to be a perfectionist. I just want to do it all. I want to dabble in all of the things. So reading for me is just one of like a billion hobbies that I have. And so when you find somebody who has, again, the time to read, or that is their main hobby
One
is reading,
yeah. Mhm.
and then you're on the same like wavelength, like I feel like you, where that's just going to be like my pit of doom, and I'm just going to be
Yeah.
surrounded by books that I don't have room for, which, okay, I know I could get them all like digitally for like, I have a Nook, which the poor thing is ancient, but he still works. He still works. Um which I could get them digitally, but for me, I am a very like physical, have to have the physical media in my hand. I know we talked about this the last time Wyatt was on, and we were talking about how Wyatt and I are like
Mhm.
collectors of physical media,
Yeah.
and Casey's a
Not
digital
me.
person. I like having the physical media, but I will say that the only downside of being like that is because if I buy a book and then I don't like it, I just wasted my money on that book, and now I have to
Yeah.
deal with storing it or pawning it off onto somebody. Um, and
Yeah.
because I
No,
didn't
that's
like
true.
it, I'm like, if I don't like it, are any of my friends gonna like it? Probably not.
Oh, yeah, I always tell when people always ask me sometimes people will ask me, like, for book suggestions, and I'm like, "I don't think you
Hmm.
want my suggestions." Because I've read some pretty fucked up books and some pretty
Yeah.
gnarly books.
Hmm.
Like, books that have made me I read a book, and I'm not gonna go into detail because it's quite disgusting, but, like, I read a book that's literally, like, 80 pages long, and I had to stop multiple times because I was, like, gagging.
Oh my gosh.
Like, actually, I was like, "Holy moly, this book is, brutal."
Yeah, but it's weird because, like, when stuff like that happens, it's like you don't want to stop reading because the author has done such an amazing job of
Yeah.
describing this horrible thing, but like it's also really terrible, and you're like, I can't read this, but I have to read this because it's
Yeah.
amazing. Um,
Yeah, but I don't like I unless, like, it's I mean, I've read other books besides, like, just horror books, but where was I going with that? I don't remember.
I don't know, but horror is your main
Yeah,
genre.
it depends on who's asking me for the
Mm,
suggestion also.
yeah,
Um, because like, I know some people that also like some of the stuff that I like, and I'm like, "Ooh, you should read this book because 'cause you'll love it." And it's like,
yeah,
I probably wouldn't recommend it to, like, the average adult.
yeah. You're like, this isn't for
People that are normal.
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely read a very specific genre of books. Like for some of my favorite authors in said genre. Well, I'm reading a book right now. Well, I'm listening to it, I should say,
Reading,
called Pretty
listening, it's the
Girls.
same thing.
Yeah. Well, I did read it and then I lost the book, but it's called Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter, and I
Oh,
love
yeah, you mentioned
Karen
that.
Slaughter. Yeah. So that's the book that I'm listening to right now, and
Mhm.
it's really good so far. It's super long. I mean, for me, I have to also be like in the mood to listen to like audiobooks cuz sometimes like I just don't want to listen to them.
Yeah.
So like a 16-hour book could take me quite some time.
Mhm.
And I think this one's like 18 hours. So, but it's pretty good so far. It's very suspenseful. It's very lots of plot twists. Yeah, I'm not that
Is it like a does it take place like present day, or is it like what time era?
yeah, it's like present day. It's basically like about it follows like this family, these two girls and like their sister went missing a long time ago.
Mhm.
And this girl like in the news goes missing and the one sister's like husband dies. And so after like the husband dies, this happens like pretty early on, so I'm not giving any spoilers away, okay? I promise. Um After the husband dies, like shit just hits the fan, like everybody finds out secrets and like fucked up things that like happened and like everything kind of just like connects pieces. So it's kind of like a murder mystery almost, kind of.
Mhm.
Um, but it's a lot of weird stuff. Yeah. I don't know. This one's a little more on the tame side of books that I read. It's kind of just like a thriller, like who did it, what's
Mhm.
going to happen next, what plot twist is going on next. Like this is one of the more tamer ones that I read, but some of them I read, man oh man, are they rough.
Now, is this book told from like a first person perspective, like, or does it switch perspectives? Or is it just like, you know, what everybody is thinking all the time kind of thing?
Yeah, you know what everybody is thinking all the time basically.
Okay.
Or like for the most part, it kinda just follows, like, mainly the 2 sisters, so that's kind of who
Mhm.
you get the main perspectives of, um, and you kinda just follow the 2 sisters around, like, the one sister, her name is Claire, she's kinda like the main girl, I guess, kinda,
Mhm.
um, but, yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's almost I kinda like it because I feel like it's because it's not, like too far out of the realm of, like, possibilities of things that could happen, because it's
Mhm.
kind of like true crime, so kinda to me is like a podcast almost, that's why I like it. Some audiobooks, like, I'm very picky with audiobooks,
Yeah.
if I don't the one that I'm listening to now, I like the narrator, except for I hate the way she says "what" because she says "what" and, like,
Oh,
"well" and,
like cool whip.
like yeah, whip. And I'm like, "I hate the way you say that, I hate that."
Yeah.
That's the only thing I don't like about this narrator, but, like, some narrators, I'm like, "Man, I would listen to this book, but I'm not a fan of the narrators."
Yeah. Yeah.
But I really like when the books are narrated by the authors. I like that.
Yes. I love that too.
Like, I listened to, I think we talked about this on an episode before, but I read the, Jeanette McCurdy book,
Mm.
the I'm
Mhm.
Glad My Mom Died,
Yeah.
and then, that is such a good book, 10 out of 10, recommend it, stop what you're doing, go read that book now. Um, but I listened to it because she narrates it, and it's so good, like, hearing it from her. Like, it's, like,
Yeah.
chilling.
Yeah, I feel like definitely like autobiographies in
Mhm.
particular are they it just adds that like extra level of feeling like you're talking with that person and truly listening to
Yeah.
their story. And I think I always think it's a really cool like you wrote a book, which is amazing, but you're also doing the audiobook, which is also really cool. Cause two YouTubers who I've followed forever, Dan and Phil, and they had for each tour, they write a book that coincides with the tour and they actually narrate the audiobook and it gives you like a lot more like tidbits than you would get from just
Mhm.
reading the book. So I love when authors narrate their own stuff because they tend to add stuff in there and then as if I were to write a book, I would want to narrate it as well because then and make sure the tone is correct and people say things correctly and
Yeah. So
emphasis
you
on
get
certain
the,
things. Like,
yeah, the way you get it across is how you wrote it.
yeah, for sure.
Mhm. Mhm. For sure, dog.
For
I don't know why I did
sure.
that. I'm sorry.
She's not sorry. It's fine.
No, I'm not.
Um
It's fine.
I wanted to talk about too like because I haven't been reading anything. I haven't been reading actual
Mhm.
books in like a year. I haven't read a multi-chaptered fan fiction for like months, which is very unusual for me because I feel like I'm always reading, especially fan fiction because I love me a good fanfic. Um but I just like I got into this funk of not wanting to read anything. And I hate that because I know I want like there's so much to read and then I'm like I'm not spending my time reading, so I'm missing out
Yeah.
on stuff. But I have this vicious cycle which I don't know if we've mentioned it before or if I've just seen it floating around the internet where It's like I go through, I'm going to read absolutely everything, to I'm
Mhm.
only going to read this one type of thing, and then I'm going to read absolutely nothing. Like,
Yes.
those are the three stages, and it goes in a vicious cycle. But I am excited to hop back into books in particular, because I feel like, not that fan fiction is bad, but I feel like sometimes when you consume so much of it that it kind of rots your brain, and you're like, I need
Yeah.
to like get out of, especially because like I like to read a lot of reader insert stuff because I want to be the main character and I want to be important. um and so I'm like, I gotta get out of this first person or second person perspective and read something that that is like something else, something completely
Yeah.
different. So that's why I really liked the book I picked up, because it's told from Evelyn and Bennett's point of view, so you flip back and forth. So you get his thought process and her thought process, which I like. But it's, I don't know if it's something just about being in the first person perspective and being an actual published by an actual publishing house book that just like resets my brain from all the fan fiction rot. But it's just like a nice big reset button, and so now I feel like refreshed and ready to read all of the things. I also write a lot, and so I feel like the more you read, the better you write. And so like I haven't written anything in a long time either, and I'm like, I need to get out of this funk, but I've had so many other things take priority. And so now, as we get closer to my birthday and it becomes all about me, I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to do what I want.
Yeah, I know last year I went through like a phase where all I wanted to do was read. I read literally like my entire lunch break. For my hour lunch break, I just sat in the break room and read.
Hmm.
And then like I would get out of work and before I would go to class, I would read. Like I was reading a ton of books but last year and then I just like I don't know if I burnt myself out
Probably.
on yeah, like I don't know if it was just cuz like the content I was reading was just like some of it's pretty rough. Like I read this book. Actually, I think I finished it. I remember yeah, I think I finished reading this book when we were on our way to Disneyland one of the
Mm.
times.
Hmm.
And it was, like, about these 2 kids that got, like, captured and tortured, and it goes into, like, pretty graphic detail.
Hmm.
And I remember, like, I had to read it in, like, chunks because I was like, "Ooh, this is a lot." Like, even
A
for me,
lot,
like, and
yeah.
I don't mind, like, gory stuff, but that was, like, a lot for me. So I think I probably just burnt myself out on, like, the content I was reading. Lately,
Hmm.
I've been trying to read more true crime or, like, true crime like, adjacent, where
Hmm.
it's, like, a murder mystery, like, or, murder, whatever type of stuff like that, um,
Yeah.
or, like, missing cases, whatever, instead of, like, the hardcore, like, gory shit. Because some of that, I'm like, "This is brutal. I don't know how you people think of this, like, I don't know if I should be worried about what the fuck goes on inside your head."
Yeah. I would love to know what their Google search history is for stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Oh god, I know.
And then, like, did you interview people who had been through stuff like that? Or, to be honest, the imagination that some people have is just like out of this world. And
Mhm.
sometimes that creates like amazing fantasy worlds like Dune or Lord of the Rings. And then sometimes it creates super gory things. And you're just like, how? How? But like, it just, I feel like for those kinds of people, it just comes to their brain. There's no rhyme or reason. It's just
Yeah.
there, and they just put it on some paper for us to read. Absolutely astounding.
Yeah, it's pretty wild some of the things that people write about. I would like to dive into maybe like the like other genres. Like my manager, she listens to a lot of we, like, discuss books a lot, and she likes a lot
Mhm.
of fantasy books, but she also likes a lot of, like, thriller books like I like, so that's, like, why we kind of, like, overlap because, like, I don't know, I was on, like, the side of Book Talk where it was, like, all fantasy for a while, and, like, that's just not like, it's just not my jam. I just get, like, too bored, you know? I'm like,
Yeah.
I just can't I don't know. It's like TV. Like I like watching spooky TV, you know?
I
I
was
like
gonna
watching
say you
scary
need
stuff.
like dark fantasy, not just like regular, but like
Yeah.
dark
Mhm.
fantasy. Like
Yeah.
and not like my kind of dark fantasy where it's like sexy dark fantasy, but like actual like murder dark fantasy.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I need. That's what I like honestly because that's something that I probably would enjoy because I'm trying to like look through my books that I have on like my Audible and stuff to see
Mhm.
like if I have anything that's not
It's not
like true
horror.
crime. Yeah, no. It's pretty much all.
But yeah, we will have to, now that we are both in the reading mood, we're definitely gonna have to do some book swapping.
Yeah, I still want you to read
And
that one book. I that book,
yes.
if I like, and it's not like fucked up like I think I normally read. I didn't even I think I that was like my first intro to like book talk. That book is like what got me into reading. It's called Hidden Pictures. I know we talked about it on the like one of the first episodes we did,
Mhm.
but that book I'm part of this like thriller group page on Facebook and they post like or thriller book, I should say. Um and anytime somebody's like, I need a book to read, I always recommend that book. And then like a bunch of people recommend that book. 10 out of
Mhm.
10. So good, so creepy, amazing.
Yeah, I actually, the last time we talked about that, I actually put it on my ancient Nook. So it's there, it's ready to go. Maybe I will pick that up next since I got, because when I bought In the Weeds, I was just perusing Barnes and Noble and it was the first time I was
Hmm.
truly excited to read something. So now that it's got the juices flowing again, perhaps I will pick that up and then we can have an episode about that.
Oh, yes, it's so good. I love that book. I could never recommend that book to more people. If you like it's like creepy enough to where it'll keep you reading it, but it's not like super scary. And
Mhm.
then there's like a major plot twist in it that like I did not see coming. So yeah, it's got like a lot of good elements to it and it's also got like pictures in it when you read it, you'll
Ooh, I
see.
love a book with
Um,
pictures.
yeah, I don't know if you'll like these ones because 'cause they're very interesting.
Grotesque?
Not grotesque, but very creepy.
Mm. Well,
But
honestly, I
very
love
good.
me a good creepy photo.
Yeah. Oh, honestly, this book is so good. Yeah, you should definitely read it. Like, a 10 out of 10. Recommend. Everybody read that book.
Yeah.
It's called Hidden Pictures. I don't know who it's by,
Well, it's something with
but
an R. Hold on.
yeah, it's on my Instagram. Like,
Jason Rekulak? Rekulak?
oh, yeah. Mhm.
Rekulak. If you literally Google hidden pictures, it's the first one that comes
Yeah.
up. But yeah, I am excited to read that. I feel like I don't necessarily branch out of which I feel like a lot of people do. When you find your genre that you like to read, you really don't branch out very
Mhm.
far. So I would love I've been slowly getting into more like scary, creepy, all kinds of media, movies, video games. So this will be my intro into scary slash creepy books.
Yes. And it's
Um
a good intro because I that book like literally I was like I'm never gonna stop reading and then I burnt myself out. But I'm hoping that like if
yeah.
once I finish this book, I'm hoping it'll kind of kick me into like listening and reading. I like lately I've just had to listen to more books because I do so much driving.
Yeah.
I just don't have the time to like physically read books. But I've downloaded another book called The Troop, which it's by Nick Cutter, and I love Nick Cutter so
Mhm.
much. I read his other book, The Deep, and it's really good. So I'm really excited to read that. So I'm hoping that like once I finish this book, it'll like push me into listening to a bunch of books. Which like listening is a lot easier than reading, but like sometimes, you're just like you just want to like jam to music and like not listen to people talk.
Mhm. For sure. See, I don't know. Maybe I will get more into audiobooks. Most of the time when I listen to an audiobook, I just my brain goes like staticky fuzzy and then I don't
Mm.
remember like what just
Yeah.
happened. And so like I did that one time. To be fair, the last time I did an audiobook, it was a book narrated by Tom Hiddleston. And yes, I did listen to the book because it was narrated by Tom Hiddleston. And I got so caught up in listening to his very beautiful voice that I honestly don't remember anything that happened in that book. I don't even
Yeah.
remember the main character's name. I don't remember what happened. I just know it was like a time period book. I think it was like the 1800s or so. I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember. So I really haven't tried audiobooks since. But maybe I'll give them another go cuz I also didn't listen to podcasts before we started the
Yeah,
podcast.
see?
So
Mhm.
um but it's weird cuz I just feel like cuz books you have to like they're what, 15 plus hours most of the time.
Yeah, it depends on the
And
book. Mhm.
so you have to remember like a lot, whereas podcasts, you don't necessarily have to remember what happened in the episode beforehand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mhm.
And yet I can watch a TV show without actually looking at it and remember everything. So I don't know how my brain works. It's just that's how it goes. It's how it goes. But to be fair, most of the shows that I can do that with is like Supernatural and Psych and Gilmore Girls and stuff that I've seen about 10,000 times. So the TV show just plays in my head.
Yeah. Mhm. I
But
get
yeah,
that.
I definitely should look into because I think Spotify comes with audiobooks now, doesn't it?
Yeah, you get like so
I
many
thought
free
they
hours a month, I think.
Yeah, so I'll have to check that out since I have Spotify Premium. But I'll have to look into seeing if In the Weeds has an audiobook and if it's a good audiobook. And if it does, maybe you can just listen to it and then I can read the other one and then we can have our book swap that way.
Yeah, because I have 6 credits on Audible that I need to use up, but they tell me every month, and then every month I get another credit added, and I'm like, "God damn it, I still have
Slacking.
I'll use one, like, I just used one, okay, I just used one this month, and I still have 6, and then by the time I go and use another one, it'll be time for me to pay for it, and then I'll still have
Yeah.
6, and I'm like, "Oh my god." That's not even including because I have a bunch of free books downloaded too. Like, that's not including
Oh.
the library that I had that I haven't finished reading books because I had, like, a book that I pre-ordered on it like, I have a bunch. I'm slacking for sure.
Yeah. Well, I am actually excited for you to read this one because it's very out of your realm. It's a rom-com book. So, I'm
Ooh.
curious to see if you'll be bored and if you'll actually finish it because it's very much not up your street. I feel like you would finish it just because you'd be like Jamie likes this, I have to finish it. But I feel
Yeah,
like
I feel
if
like I have
somebody
to.
handed you this yeah, if somebody just handed this book to you, you would probably get like a few chapters in and be like, and nobody has died and there's no
There's
mystery.
no blood.
So,
I'm mad.
yeah. Yeah, like this is dumb, why am I reading this? But it'll be interesting because again, uh we'll both be out of our little comfort reading of genre, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm too.
And then we both read like autobiographies of various famous people. I feel like it's always famous people that we both read about, so I definitely need to read Jeanette McCurdy's
Yes,
book,
you should.
because I've heard from multiple people that it's absolutely amazing. And the last few autobiographies I've read were actually very good, so I definitely will need to give hers a read.
Yeah, it's super good, but it will make you cry. So,
Yeah.
but you know what? You should I feel like you should okay, if you're gonna
Mhm.
read it before if you're gonna read it and you're gonna watch the documentary that they just came out
Yeah.
with on Max, read the
HBO,
book
yeah.
first. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
because it that well they talk about the book a little bit in the docuseries, but yeah, like both of them together it's just whew, man, it really
Yeah,
messes with your childhood.
I know, I was about to say I'm not ready to, like, be devastated about the stuff I used to love when I was younger. I mean, I always knew, like, Nickelodeon and Disney had, like, bad relationships when it came to, like, children on set and how, like, they were always I always think, like, because I know they're working, but they're also still kids, so
Yeah.
that whole relationship has always been messed up. But it's really sad when it affects, like, people your own age and people that
Mhm.
were on TV and that you watched on TV and that brought so much joy and laughter into your life, and then to realize that they were suffering behind the scenes breaks my heart, and I know I'm just gonna cry the whole time.
Yeah.
So, we'll be doing that after my birthday so that I don't have a mental breakdown on top of being 30, so.
I feel that. I feel that for sure. I do you have anything else to add? I feel like this is books are kind of we're getting back into books. So,
Yeah. Yeah, we're in the part of the cycle where we're gonna read everything and anything. So if you guys have any recommendations
yes.
on specifically something that could potentially combine mine and Casey's preferred genre, which Casey is like horror, spooky, gory, and mine's like spicy rom-com fantasy. If you've got anything that has a mixture of those, please let us know because it'd be very
Yes.
interesting to find a book that we both thoroughly enjoyed, because I guarantee you we'll enjoy it for very different reasons, or
Yeah,
maybe we'll
and
enjoy
maybe
it
we'll
for
do
the
an
same
episode about it.
reasons. Yes, we would
Yeah.
love that. So but yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this episode. Leave your suggestions below. Yeah, don't forget to follow us here wherever you're
And
listening
everywhere.
and everywhere, all the social medias.
Oh.
Don't forget to subscribe everywhere too, because even if you're listening on Spotify, go over to YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube. If you're listening on YouTube, go over to the Apple Podcasts and follow us there. Unless you're a Samsung user, then maybe don't follow us on Apple Podcasts because that seems a little sacrilege. But to each their own.
Do whatever
Um,
you want. Live your life.
yeah, live your truth. Um, and then follow us. Instagram is honestly our primary means of communication. Feel free to send us messages if you guys have questions or if there's things you want us to talk about or react to. Message us there, and we will see you guys in the next episode. So bye.
Bye.